This is how I went from zero to a £3 million property portfolio. So I'm going to cover how I started a property business with £1,000.
It doesn't cost that much money.
How you can buy properties and get all your money back.
It's not really costing you any money.
And break down step by step how I built a £3 million portfolio. So let's get started.
I started straight after university. I started doing what is called rent to service accommodation. I was renting 2-bedroom flats like this in Hertfordshire for about £1,200 a month. Get the professional pictures, you furnish the property. Now, when I put this onto Airbnb, this is a booking for 34 nights for £2,726. If I rent a property for £1,200 a month and then I rent it out on Airbnb for one night at a time, why are people willing to pay me double what I'm paying? It's hassle-free. Yeah, convenience. If you are coming to London, you don't have to then go and rent a property for 6 months. You can rent it for that exact period of time. And therefore, people are willing to pay a premium just like hotels. And that is essentially what I started doing in Hertfordshire, in London, in different locations, Cambridgeshire. The big benefit of this strategy is the fact that it doesn't cost that much money to rent a property. You need about a 6-week rent advance, you need a deposit, you pay for some furniture, and that's pretty much it. I did only that for about 2.5 years. But then I made the move from rent to rent into building a portfolio because every strategy has its own benefits. The benefit of rent to rent is the fact that you don't need much money and you can get started very quickly. The benefit of a portfolio is that over the years, hopefully that will appreciate in value. That leads me on to my next question, which is how much does it cost to buy a £450,000 investment property? 25% deposit, so that's £112,000. You have stamp duty, which is about £25,000. You have some legal fees. If you add everything up, that comes to about £150,000. So my aim here is how do we reduce that as much as possible so you can buy as many properties as possible with the £150,000, £50,000 or £40,000, whatever that figure is. This is my BRR model based in London. This is a 1-bedroom flat I bought in West Hampstead. This was the kitchen, this was the main bedroom, and then this was the bathroom. You come in through here, you have a bathroom, you have a bedroom, you have a reception room, and you have the kitchen. I essentially moved the kitchen from here to here, so it became an open plan kitchen, and then I turned the kitchen into the second bedroom. So it went from being a 1-bedroom flat into a 2-bedroom flat. If you have no build experience and no property experience or any experience whatsoever, kind of similar to my situation, then this is like an easy way of getting started. Because the alternative is maybe you buy something and you do extensions and loft conversions and everything else. And not to say that's necessarily hard, but at the same time, it's harder than moving a kitchen. I bought this property for £303,000. This total cost includes your stamp duty, your financing, your legals, your refurb, like every single cost there is. That was £84,000. In the space of 6 months, that property got revalued at £450,000. At that stage, I refinanced the property. Essentially what that means is this. When you buy investment property, you're gonna get a loan of 75%. Let's just say I bought this for 303 and I went to HSBC. And they gave me 75%, which is 228. When the property goes up in value to 450, I then go to a different bank. Let's just say I go to Barclays or I go to Lloyds. And I say, well, come and value the property. And they say, well, we think it's worth 450. Then they give you 75% of the 450. Now, of course, that is a higher amount because, the property is now worth considerably more. So when you get that second mortgage, you get a lot of your money back, and in the end, it has only cost me £51,000 for this property. If I were to sell it, my profit would be £61,000.
By the way, with these examples, to make the most amount of money in property, at times you need a slight discount.
Now, this is the single best tip when it comes to getting a discount. Go to Blinkist.com, then search Never Split the Difference. Click on the new version, click Read, and then go to key idea 5. Don't compromise, don't give in, and never ever split the difference. So this property is on for £90,000. Let's say you want to buy this for £80,000. What you don't do is when your offer gets rejected, you say, well, okay, I'll meet you in the middle and I'll pay 85 and we'll make something work. In negotiations, you can use time to create pressure. By establishing deadlines, you can force your counterpart to make rushed decisions because you're afraid of losing something in the future. So when you speak to the seller or the agent in this case, you say, hey, I'm looking to buy a property by the end of the month. I'm looking at 6 other properties. If I can get this offer accepted by the end of the month, I'll move forward. If not, I'll progress with one of the other ones where my offer does get accepted. Because you've established a deadline, they know you have to make a decision by the end of the month. That's likely to create more pressure for them, and you might get the deal through as opposed to meeting in the middle the second the offer is rejected. If you want to learn more about sales and negotiation, go to Blinkist, which has 5,500 non-fiction books and podcasts which are condensed in 15 minutes. You can either read the condensed version or you can listen to it just like an audiobook. If you have friends who are also into learning new things, then when you download the Blinkist app, click on Spaces and you can create your own space where all of your friends can hang out and you can share recommendations. Right now, you can get 25% off the Blinkist annual membership. You can start a 7-day free trial to see if it's right for you by clicking the link in the description below.
I mentioned earlier, how much does it cost to buy a property worth £450,000? And the number was 145,000. If you do it this way, that has only cost me 51,000, which is, considerably less than what it would be otherwise. So if you only have 150,000 pounds to invest, this way you end up with 3 properties as opposed to 1 investment property. The first one I did was in Battersea Park. The bedroom gets a refurb, the kitchen turns into the second bedroom, the bathroom gets a renovation. I bought that for 237,000. It was then valued at 320,000 pounds. My money left in was just over 31,000 pounds. So that took the portfolio from 0 to 320,000 pounds. I did the same thing again in London Bridge, turned the 1 bed into a 2 bed, bought that for 330, revalued at 450, money left in was 60. So that took it from 320 to 770, then did the same thing again in Vauxhall, bought that for 290, revalued at 390. Then I did the same thing again in Brixton, bought that for 240, revalued at 320. West Hampstead one was my last one, which you guys saw right at the start. And so that took it up to 1.9 million pounds. Now you might be thinking, well, fine, that's all good and well, but it still needs 50,000 pounds, 30,000 pounds, 40,000 pounds. And if you're in a situation where you don't have the 40,000, then you still have a bit of an issue. Here's a bit of a simple solution. These are the West Hampstead numbers. And like I said, the money left in was about 50,000 pounds, but the profit on that was 60,000 pounds. If you did one of these projects and you sold it, you would make 60,000 pounds. If you then did another one, this time you held it, your money left in is 50,000 pounds. So essentially you do one, you flip it, you get the money, you do another one, and you hold it. So if you keep flipping, holding, flipping, holding, flipping, holding, then you're in a situation where it's not really costing you any money because you can keep doing more and more without your money being depleted every single time. The only issue with that is the fact that it would take, to some degree, a long while to build a portfolio. Now, let's say it takes 9 months to do a project. Well, if you flipped one, that's 9 months. If you then did another one to hold, that's 9 months. That's 18 months if you just want to buy an investment property. Now, this is where I came up with the new model. So this is Stevenage. I bought this 3-bedroom terraced house. Living room, bedroom, bathroom. I turned that into 2 flats. So we had a flat downstairs and we had a flat upstairs. So I bought that for 265. The total cost was 84,000 pounds. And it was revalued at 410,000 pounds for both of the flats, 205 and 205 on average. The profit on that was 60,000 pounds. So that means each flat made 30,000 pounds. But like I said, I don't tend to sell these normally. I tend to just refinance and hold. That means I had my money left in of 42,000 pounds. If you just do some, simple maths here, let's just say you bought a house and you turned it into 2 flats. So you had one upstairs, one downstairs. If you sold the one upstairs, how much money would you make? The 30,000 pounds. Your money left in on the one downstairs, like we said, was 21,000 pounds. You could quite simply buy a house, turn it into 2 flats, sell the upstairs one, and that makes you enough money to hold the one which is downstairs. So every time you buy a property now, you can end up with one property without it costing you any money whatsoever. So now, if we go back to the very first question I asked at the start, of how much does it cost to buy a 450,000 pound property? Well, that was 145,500. If you turn a 1 bed into a 2 bed, that costs you about 51,000 pounds, right? Because you can't get all of your money back because, well, you're still holding the property and therefore you have some level of, money left in. Whereas if you turn a house into 2 flats and you sell one, which allows you to retain one, you can be in a situation where it doesn't cost you any money. So I did that one, that took the portfolio to 2.3 million. Once again in Stevenage, I bought this building here. So this is mixed commercial. Downstairs you have a clinic and upstairs you had a 3-bedroom flat. I ended up getting planning to extend a bit of this on the side and then turn the entire building into 4 flats. So I bought that for 600,000 pounds. I actually thought the GDV, I thought it was going to be at 900. 3 weeks ago, it got valued at 990,000, which is more than what I expected, because I thought the market was a bit funny right now. It got valued at 990 as an entire block. I don't have all the numbers yet because the refinance should be done in about 10 odd days or so then I'll have the final numbers. Same concept roughly applies, which is if in this situation you did that project and you sold 2 of the flats, that would mean that you can keep 2 of the flats, and once again you're in a situation where it hasn't cost you any money. That was valued at 990, that took the portfolio to £3.24 million. If you want to learn more about this, I've got a bunch of free courses and stuff which you can check out on my YouTube channel.